Good evening, I'm Joyce Taylor.
And I'm David Kerley.
Smoke is covering the Puget Sound area this hour, setting off alarms and sending a few people to the hospital.
Discovery will be coming home in a few hours. Today, a tribute.
Mike James is coming home from Seoul, but not before a wrap-up on what the games mean for Korea.
The game in Atlanta meant a win for the Seahawks, a much-needed win. Lou will have that story and all the sports.
And Rich explains how the weather is contributing to this smoke problem.
King 5 News is next.
Let's see. Our family's been working this land for, what, almost 100 years now. 3 generations. No, better make that 4. I don't know. We've just always been farmers. Must be in the blood or something. Sure as heck isn't the easiest way to make a living. Oh well, you just pray for the right weather and put your money in the right places.
U.S. Bank. Working for you, working for Washington.
We've got a good life here.
Australia's had natural mineral water springs for over 3 million years. But at Koala Springs, we found just plain old mineral water a little boring. So we added real orange and mango juices. Then some lemon, lime and orange. We tried apples and blackcurrants. And then some orange and passion fruit. Koala Springs sparkling mineral water with fruit juice. It's mineral water with an Australian flavour.
Godfather of the airwaves here. Ooh, what's your problem?
My husband has been going out every night.
Another woman, huh?
No, Spooner. He's been going down to Godfather's Pizza.
Babe, you can either blow out of there and take him for everything he's got, or call this number!
Was that like a shrink?
A shrink? Oh, no, babe. Godfather's Pizza Delivery.
Call 223-1111 for Godfather's Pizza in minutes.
He sounds like an insensitive beast.
Register to vote for this year's election.
Your vote counts, not just in presidential elections, but in matters concerning schools, roads, and candidates in your neighborhood. Count yourself in, register, and vote.
What do you mean your vote won't count? They add them up one at a time, and besides, what if your favorite candidate should lose? By one vote, what then?
If you're a new voter, pick up King 5's invitation to vote at libraries, our voter van, or call 329-4848.
Live from Seattle, this is King 5 News.
Good evening, I'm David Kerley.
And I'm Joyce Taylor.
Smoke, thick smoke, is covering much of the Puget Sound Basin tonight.
It's smoke from a slash burn area near Shelton, and it is just sitting over much of King, Pierce, Kitsap, and Mason counties. This is a live picture from Queen Anne Hill, where some residents report their homes and apartments are filled with smoke.
Fire and police departments in all the counties affected have been flooded by phone calls. At least 300 calls in Bremerton. A dispatcher in Tacoma said it's been a real headache. For people with health problems, it's been much worse. At least 3 people have been hospitalized for breathing problems.
In downtown Seattle and other areas, fire alarms have been set off by the smoke. The thick cloud is sticking close to the ground because of a weather inversion.
All the smoke is from a controlled burn just east of Shelton. 192 acres of slash, the remnants from logging, were burned today on Simpson timberland. Reports from the Department of Natural Resources indicate that that fire is still smoldering at this hour.
Smoke has been moving in a northeasterly direction. It first covered Bremerton and Tacoma about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Then it moved across the Sound, blanketing Vashon Island, Seattle, and the Kent Valley. And as Dave just mentioned, the fire is apparently still producing smoke, and more is headed this way.
What is making this smoke cloud even more miserable than it should be, is an inversion.
And Rich Marriott is here to explain exactly what this inversion is and what it's doing.
Yeah, it's actually not a very uncommon occurrence around here. We have inversions actually almost practically every evening. It's the extent of this one tonight and the effect of having the burning taking place. Take a look real quick at a little weather graphic we made. Ordinarily, the temperature decreases as you go up with height. It might be 59 degrees at the surface and go up to about 50 degrees at 2,500 feet. And then the smoke in that situation could mix up through the entire atmosphere. But tonight what we have, it gets warmer as we get up higher in the atmosphere. That forms the inversion, which is essentially a cap, like putting the top on a pan. The smoke is forced to stay in the lower layers of the atmosphere, probably only within about 1,000 feet of the surface, and that's where it's going to be staying for the next day or so. Then those south to southwest winds are mixing them up and moving them towards Seattle. They won't be quite as bad tomorrow, but chances are we won't clear that smoke out entirely, probably until Tuesday.
So we can expect to smell it here for at least a couple more days.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be quite as intense as it is tonight, fortunately.
Okay, one last thing we want to mention is the Department of Natural Resources says it will be investigating tomorrow. It says Simpson Timber does have a permit to burn, If there was a violation of that permit, a fine is the only thing that they can levy, a $500 to $1,000 fine. We'll keep you up to date. In other news, in about an hour and a half, the 5 astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery will be awakened. They'll put away equipment, close the payload doors, and get ready to come home. Today, their last full day in space was full of emotion.
We're really enjoying it.
It's clear the crew is having a great time, pleased that America is back in space. But during a news conference with reporters at the Johnson Space Center, they revealed the liftoff was not without a few scary moments. Commander Rick Houck.
Right at liftoff, we had a caution and warning tone, actually an alert tone, which got our attention real quick.
Pilot Dick Covey said he was reminded how helpless they are when the solid rockets are burning.
It certainly was a lot more anxiety-producing than we had anticipated, or at least I had.
This was a day to remember the 7 astronauts lost on Challenger, a special moment for those now in space.
Today, up here where the blue sky turns to black, we can say at long last to Dick, Mike, Judy, to Ron and Elle, and to Krista and Greg. Dear friends, we have resumed the journey that we promised to continue for you. Dear friends, your loss has meant that we could confidently begin anew. Dear friends, your spirit and your dream are still alive in our hearts.
Landing of Discovery is set for 9:30 Pacific time tomorrow morning, and we'll cover the landing live here on King 5.
And still to come tonight, now that the Olympics are over, the Koreans face new challenges.
With the growing struggle between modern and traditional values.
If you're still hoping to bump into a great deal on an 88 model car, but still find prices a little jolting, get in touch with your Subaru dealer. You'll find a bumper crop of 88 models your dealer has priced to move. He's clearing out all 88 Justies, sedans, hatchbacks, wagons, and XTs with up to $1,000 cash back from Subaru. Plus dealer incentives designed to bump off the competition and put you behind the wheel of a new Subaru. See your dealer now during this year-end clearance, because you don't bump into deals like this every day.
Where can you get a durable 6-foot aluminum ladder for only $22.99? At the new Ernst. All the best products at the lowest prices, guaranteed. Like America's standard water-saving white fleet toilet, now at Ernst for just $59.77. And Electra-Pack 300-watt quartz halogen yard lights, now at Ernst for just $7.99 after rebate. If there's a lower price anywhere on our quality products, we'll beat it by 5%, guaranteed. At the new Ernst.
Attention oldies fans, come and get them in FM stereo.
That's the first record I ever bought. Now it's my daughter's favorite song.
KBS 97.3, oldies all in a row, all on FM.
I almost got crushed at the bottom of the pile at Volunteer Park that day.
Finally, all oldies on FM, KBS 97.3.
Mom would take us to the XXX for burgers and malts, then monster movies at the Midway Drive-In.
Nothing else like it on FM, KBS 97.3.
Cut. Lulu? Have you seen Lulu?
You know her? She's just left.
I'm telling you, she's gone.
Lulu?
C'est moi.
Lulu, the new perfume from Cacharel.
Available in the cosmetic department at the Bon Marché.
Hey, UW students, the Almost Live crew will be at Red Square October 3rd and 4th from 10:30 to 2:30 to register you to vote.
4 people were killed and a 5th badly hurt this weekend in 2 plane crashes in Washington state. One went down near Prosser in Franklin County, killing 1 man. The pilot of that plane is at Harborview Hospital. He's being treated for burns. 3 others died in a plane crash near Bellingham. A Seattle man and his 2 sons were killed when their twin-engine Cessna crashed during takeoff from Eliza Island. That is near the entrance of Bellingham Bay. The man has been identified as Ed Bond of Seattle. His sons were 8 and 10 years old. Seattle narcotics agents put more than 100 drug dealers and users behind bars this weekend. About 50 officers went undercover in the University District. They posed as buyers and sellers of cocaine and marijuana, then arrested anyone who took the bait. 104 people were busted. About 30 had their cars confiscated. Police hope that people are getting the message.
So what's killing America is the attitude that doing drugs is okay, that it's cool in some cases.
Young people think it's cool. It isn't cool. It's destructive, and it's criminal, and we want the buyers to know that.
Some of those arrested are calling the police operation entrapment, but authorities say they have no intention of easing up. The stings will continue.
There was a party in Seattle today, a party to mark the end of a long battle with many victims and wounds. Dozens of Japanese Americans gathered to celebrate the president's signing of a bill which redresses the wrong America did to its citizens of Japanese ancestry during World War II. Thousands of citizens were interned in camps during the war. Today, a toast to the bill which offers the country's apology. The measure also calls for payments to those interned. The 1988 Olympic Games have come to an end with the traditional closing ceremonies, and in his final report from Seoul, Mike James uses a modern Korean poem to look at a new challenge for the Korean people.
Poems and songs here often reflect the sadness of a country too often conquered and divided, a place where happiness is always just out of reach. The poet Cho Byung-hwa suggests this anxious mood in a poem written after the war.
도시와 문명의 틈박 위에 끼어 정과 정들을
The poet says, squeezed between city and civilization, we are a shattered people that seek happiness bit by bit. Korea survived its bitter war with the North to become one of the new industrial giants of Asia. But the astonishing advance of industry here in barely 2 decades also catches Korea in a struggle between traditional and modern values.
Korea has become such a very materialistic society. It bothers me somewhat that in doing so, she is beginning to lose the national value and the moral ethics. How could the ethics and the industrial relation be balanced is a question.
일대와 같이 밀리는 문명과
The poet sees the same danger.
방죽을 치고
Let us build a dike against the rising flood of city and civilization. Let us meet by the water where the twinkling stars nestle and seek happiness bit by bit by warming our hearts before the flood overflows us. This question, where is happiness, the moral center, a sense of timeless values, the search for a balance in life, is familiar in the industrial West. And beyond the politics and the economy, it is now one of Korea's questions for tomorrow.
가을 하늘 먼 호수와 같이 끼어 있는 맑은 눈알들이여.
Oh, a shattered people with eyes as clear as the distant autumn lake. In Seoul, I'm Mike James, King 5 News.
Mike is back from Seoul tomorrow night as the games are over now.
That's right. Games that have been victorious for some Americans and not so good for others.
Yes, and because of that, an interesting report from the president of the International Olympic Committee today, Juan Antonio Samaran, said they're going to review boxing, decide if it even should be an Olympic sport, not because of safety, and that is a factor, but scoring as well, and we all know about that. Joyce definitely knows about that. And we'll turn our attention to football when we have the sports report after this.
Today's word in tires is performance. Cars like these. Cars like yours. When it comes to performance tires, come to the performance sign. Les Schwab. We've got your tires.
We're having a family reunion this weekend.
Get it on video.
Fun. Let's go swimming. I got it at Magnolia.
Anywhere.
For real. That was a long time ago. Very fun.
It goes anywhere.
Television. Sounds real.
Right on your nose.
Things you wanted to hear.
Big screen television. It's a surprise.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Magnolia Hi-Fi and Video.
Part of the family.
That's what you wanted to say.
Really?
U.S. West Direct Yellow Pages, the one that gets used.
Where are you at 5 o'clock?
Still a long way from home.
I'm usually parked here on the freeway.
With dual careers, kids, daycare, traffic, and busy schedules, many people have been forced to settle for a recap of local headlines by the time they arrive home. Until now. Beginning Monday, the King 5 News 6 o'clock report. It's the only full hour of hometown news at a time when you're home to see it. Beginning Monday, the 6 o'clock report. It's the King 5 difference. King 5 is proud to serve the community of Bremerton. To get involved in your community, call the Volunteer Action Center at 373-2182.
Well, Seahawks add another one to the win column. Not quite hitting stride, though, yet.
Hey, well,
a win's
okay.
a win.
That's right. That's my line. It's right here.
Oh, I didn't see
Actually, it was Kelly Stauffer's line. Let me share some of the comments of other Seahawks with you. Wide receiver Steve Largent said afterwards, "We're by no means where we want to be." Kelly Stauffer added, "But a win is a win is a win." And that's exactly what the Seahawks got, holding off two second-half Atlanta surges to post a 31-20 victory. Carlos Del Valle was there.
Rookies Kelly Stauffer and Brian Blades got the Seahawk offense on track. Stauffer let fly with a bomb to Blades, who stole the ball from the defender for a 53-yard play. Moments later, Kurt Warner scored on a 12-yard run, Seattle's first rushing touchdown in 3 games. The Hawks led 7-3.
We'd been struggling there for a while. I had been struggling. Offensive line had been struggling. David got hurt. John L. was about the only one that was playing pretty consistently.
The Seahawks increased their lead in the second quarter. John L. Williams went over from the 1. Seattle was on top 14-3. Rookie Kelly Stauffer had a solid first half, hitting on 5 of 7 passes, including this 31-yard strike to Steve Largent to extend Largent's consecutive game pass-catching streak to 157. Seattle led 17-3 at the half.
All in all, I felt real good. I felt the peace. Again, that's a tribute to my Lord and Savior, and I felt the peace, and everything was fine. It's a good start and a good way, good thing to build on.
The Falcons were down 17-6 in the third period, but not out. Steve Dills hit Stacy Bailey on a big 45-yard touchdown play. Bailey was all alone, and the Falcons trailed 17-13.
Anytime you have a miscommunication in secondary, you know, you either gonna give up the big one or, you know, get a sack, hopefully. But in this situation, they got the big play.
But Ground Chuck did it again. John L. scored his second touchdown from the 1. Seattle led 24-13. The Falcons cut the margin to 24-20 in the 4th, but a 63-yard drive capped by another Williams 1-yard touchdown sealed the victory.
Even with this football game that we played today, we didn't play near the way we're capable of playing, and so I don't think anybody is coming out of Atlanta thinking that we've arrived or, you know, now we're playing the way we're supposed to, because we're not.
In Atlanta, I'm Carlos Del Valle, King 5 Sports.
Around the rest of the AFC West, more trouble for the old guard. The Raiders and Broncos used to be sure bets this time of year, but they aren't. The San Diego defense did a great job on John Elway. The Broncos couldn't get the ball in the end zone for the entire game. The blue shirts were everywhere. Denver's Rich Marriott was forced to provide all the offense. He booted 4 field goals but missed a couple of chip shots. But that's all the Broncos needed because their defense shut out the Chargers. Mike Harden intercepting this Mark Malone pass here, that pretty much sealed it. The Broncos beat the Chargers 12-0. In Los Angeles, the once mighty Raiders ran into the Cincinnati roller coaster. The name of the day, Ickey Woods. There, he scored to give the Bengals a 17-zip lead. The one bright spot by the Raiders here when Jay Schrader hit Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown, and that at least got the Raiders on the board, but it didn't help much until very late in the contest. The Bengals scored at will. Boomer Esiason found Tim McGee. This one made it 24-7. The Bengals nailed Los Angeles 45-21. So AFC West scores have Denver winning, the Raiders losing, and Kansas City and New York tying. That means the Seahawks are on top with 3 teams right behind them, and Kansas City bringing up the rear because of that one tie. And in that game, a wild finish, and both teams had a chance to win. Freeman McNeil trying to set up the game-winning field goal, but he fumbled the ball at the Chiefs' 15-yard line with 40 seconds to play. So the Chiefs got lucky. But what do? Bobby Humphrey intercepted the Kansas City pass with just 26 seconds to go. So the Jets tried to set things up for a possible game-winning field goal, but time ran out, and the game ended in that 17-17 tie. Other scores, Cleveland beat Pittsburgh. Doug Flutie rescued the Patriots. Chicago over Buffalo. Philadelphia beat Houston. Tampa Bay got a field goal with 12 seconds to go to win. San Francisco beat Detroit. The Rams upset by Phoenix. Miami upset Minnesota. And the Giants held off the Redskins. The Mariners closed out another disappointing campaign in the Dome. the Texas Rangers hammered Seattle 7-2, assuring the Mariners of sole possession of last place in the American League West. Ruben Sierra forced the Mariners to play catch-up from the beginning. He sent Eric Hansen's pitch over the right field fence. Texas enjoyed a 2-0 advantage. Jay Buhner brought the Mariners back in the second. He blasted his 13th of the year. Solo shot to left center. That tied the game at 2-2. The Rangers broke the deadlock in the fifth. Odubie McDowell tapped a dribbler to Ray Quinones, who threw to third for the out. Jerry Brown scored, though, and Texas beat Seattle 7-2. The Mariners finished the season 68-93. Well, now that the season is over, the talk now centers on the manager, Jim Snyder. Will he be back? Well, that was the popular question in the clubhouse. Snyder told reporters that the Mariners have told him that, in his words, they would let the staff know this week. Snyder says that's the way to do it, since it would allow Snyder and his coaches to find new jobs if they are not retained. And one other baseball note. The Houston Astros have not retained their manager, Hal Lanier. The Astros were picked to contend in the National League West, wound up 13 games behind the division champ Los Angeles Dodgers. He was fired today on the last day of the season.
Oh.
So we're going to follow that story this week. In fact, I would imagine tomorrow on our 6 o'clock report, we'll check in on the Mariners and find out what they have in store for us in the future.
What's your bet?
Okay.
Is he going to be around?
I am not going to make any bets on that one. I really don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
All right.
I just don't know.
Excellent.
Thanks, Lou. Well, the big story this afternoon was the sunshine, but now it's the inversion that's causing a lot of the smoke that's staying in the area.
Yeah, it kind of was downhill as we got into this afternoon. After a beautiful weekend and some warm temperatures around, we cooled off a little bit today with that marine air started moving in, and that's part of what's setting up the inversion that's keeping the smoke trapped in the lower levels. We do have a change in our weather coming up, which should get that smoke out of here certainly by Tuesday, and we'll take a look at that forecast right after this.
But there's gonna be a sunny day. The only beer to drink round here is reindeer.
If you're still hoping to bump into a great deal on an '88 model car, but still find prices a little jolting, get in touch with your Subaru dealer. You'll find a bumper crop of '88 models your dealer has priced to move. He's clearing out all '88 Justies, sedans, hatchbacks, wagons, and XTs with up to $1,000 cash back from Subaru. Plus dealer incentives designed to bump off the competition and put you behind the wheel of a new Subaru. See your dealer now during this year-end clearance, because you don't bump into deals like this every day.
Where can you get a 32-gallon Tucker trash can for just $4.98 after rebate? At the new Ernst.
All the best products at the lowest prices, guaranteed.
Like Moen's touch control single-handle washerless faucets, now at Ernst for just $39.99 after rebate. And DAP Woodlife Wood Protector is now at Ernst for just $7.99 a gallon. Protects all wood surfaces. If there's a lower price anywhere on our quality products, we'll beat it by 5%, guaranteed. At the new Ernst.
When you ride the red line, you need superior protection. Introducing new world-class Haviland Superior Grade. When you rev high and run hot, or when you crawl inch by inch, you need performance-proven Haviland Superior Grade. It keeps your engine cleaner and delivers superior heat stress protection. New Haviland Superior Grade. Cool under fire. Star of the American road.
Not all television stations are alike. At King 5, we not only work hard to bring you a newscast that's been judged best in the nation, we produce more local programming than any television station in the Northwest. The only local morning show, a daily celebration of the best of the Northwest, and of course the comedy of Almost Live. The best and the most local programming, in addition to the best local news, because we believe in doing more for you. And for 40 years, it's been the King 5 difference. Fight racism and religious bigotry. Attend the second annual convention of the Northwest Coalition Against Malicious Harassment, October 20th at the Seattle Hilton.
So the smoke's going to be around for a couple of days. At least we're going to smell it. What else is going to be there with it, though?
Well, a little bit of fog, a little bit of cloudiness, and even maybe a little bit of afternoon sunshine. But we hit the weekend well in terms of really good weather. It'll be easy to go back to work tomorrow anyway. We do have a lot of smoke around the area. So, as far as we know right now, it's progressed as far north as maybe the Edmonds area. Probably as the evening drifts by, it'll continue to drift on towards the north. And fortunately, as it moves northward, it will thin out a little bit, so the northern parts of Puget Sound shouldn't be hit quite as hard. Take a look at the current conditions outside the station. We have smoky skies, so you can still see a few stars through that smoke. Current temperature is 56 degrees. The winds are south at 5, and the barometer is holding steady. High temperatures around western Washington this afternoon had quite a bit of range to them. They were in the 60s out on the coast and 62 at Whidbey Island. Most of the rest of the sound was in the upper 60s to low 70s. Over in eastern Washington, a really nice warm day over there. Every place was in the 80s except over in the northeastern portion of the state where Spokane only got up to 77 degrees. Our satellite picture tonight isn't really too helpful because, first of all, the smoke doesn't show up at all because the type of picture we have to use in the evening using infrared rays. And the smoke just does not show up in that. Also, what isn't showing up is the fog and low clouds that are in along the coast. Those are going to be spreading inland to us overnight. It's going to give us increasing fog during the night and then form some low clouds by morning. Those should burn off by tomorrow afternoon. But the bad news is we have a weather system out here that's moving into our ridge and weakening it. As that moves in, that's going to have the effect of increasing clouds by later on Monday or into early Tuesday. That system should move on in here sometime during the day on Tuesday and give us a little bit of rain. High pressure should build in behind that, though, by later Wednesday and give us some improving conditions as we move on towards the end of the week. Take a look at our forecast for tonight. Looking for, well, smoky skies out there mixed in with some fog. And we don't have a symbol for smoke yet. Our overnight low should range mostly in the low to mid-50s. For tomorrow, morning clouds and then burning off to partly sunny in the afternoon, except on the coast where it'll probably stay cloudy through the day. Daytime highs ranging mostly from the low to mid-60s. For Tuesday, we'll see some rain moving in during the day, high getting up to near 61, and then decreasing showers on Wednesday, and then morning clouds, afternoon sun for the remainder of the week. Out on the coast, calm evening, south winds to 15. On the straight, west 10 to 20, and on the inland waters, south 5 to 15 knots. Up in the mountains tomorrow, partly sunny with some fog and low clouds, especially on the west slopes of the Cascades and the lower elevations of the Olympics. Afternoon past temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Over in eastern Washington, cooling off a little bit, but staying pretty nice over there. Temperatures ranging from the mid-70s to the mid-80s with partly sunny skies, just a little bit of high cloudiness drifting through. And the good news is for the shuttle launch, they're looking for clear skies, temperatures in the 80s and 90s, maybe a little bit of wind. That's the only potential fly in the ointment there.
That's at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, right?
9:30 or so, and we should have it here on King 5.
Great.
And finally tonight, a reminder of a big change here at King 5 starting tomorrow. We're going to try and bring you the news when you're home. At 5 o'clock, a half hour of local news with Gene Anderson, followed by NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Then our full-hour newscast moves to 6 o'clock. That's with Tony Ventrella, Gene Anderson, Mike James, and Jeff Renner. We're excited about the changes. We hope you are. That's all the time we have for tonight. So thanks for watching and have a great Monday.
We'll see you next weekend, everybody. Good night.